Hi everyone, Eric again. Happy to be back. If you caught our last video, we unboxed the deluxe Black Widow figure. So we're back with another figure from that line today, and this one is the Big Bad. The only figure in the single carded line that does not contain a Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure piece. I of course am talking about Taskmaster. So a huge fan favorite. Everyone's really excited to see him in the film. I'm super excited to see what his origin and backstory is in this. He's a great figure. The MCU likeness of him is clever. It's very interesting. Personally, big fan of the orange and blue. Yeah, let's go over the box real quick. So, of course, you know, your standard Marvel Legends box, big window. You can see all of his accessories. He comes with 2 sets of hands. He's got an arrow to go with his bow. He's got his signature shield and sword. Great looking figure. Some really cool art on the sides. You know, just a comic likeness of the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of the character. On the back, of course, you have the Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure Wave, who, if you know, you could see which character comes with which, and of course, he does not come with a piece. But he is jam-packed with accessories. So, without further ado, let's get him open. So, I love the Taskmaster character in the comics. He is such a cool character. His design is great. So I was excited to see that he was finally making it into the MCU. So of course he just slides out. We have the Black Widow themed backdrop here. You know, nothing too crazy. Very simple backdrop. And then of course we have our blister. So these hands, these second set of hands, they look very familiar. They almost look like they might be the Killmonger hands. I don't know. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But let's start popping out some of the accessories here. So we got a shield. What's neat about the shield already, right off the bat here, is unless I'm mistaken. No, I'm correct. All right. So the shield actually has, I don't know if you could see that. It actually has a piece here that looks like it clips onto his wrist, but then he also has a peg to hold it. But what's cool is this whole piece rotates. So depending on what position it's in, will make for how he's going to hold the shield. And we'll definitely play with that in the photos at the end. So we have a sword. The sword's a little flexible. Not as flexible as like the Valkyrie sword, but has a little bit of a flexibility to it. Cool design. Reminds me a little bit of the Ronin sword from Endgame. Super cool bow. Actually has some springiness to it, which is neat. Very cool compound bow, fancy looking, some really great detail here. Simple paintwork, you know, just kind of gray and orange. There is a little knock here and a notch to put the arrow in, so that'll be fun. So he has 2 fisted hands that are on, you know, in the card. He then has 2 pistol and holding hands. So, or excuse me, pistol. Looks like a pistol hand with the trigger finger like that, but clearly for the bow and arrow and for knocking the arrow and holding onto the bow. Then we have an arrow that is packaged very strangely. There we go. All right. So of course we have an arrow, which is awesome. I'm taking a look. It doesn't look like there's anywhere for him to store said arrow when he is not using it. We'll take a look at that once we get him out. But got an arrow. We have 2 like clawed hands. So I guess he has some sort of fighting claws akin to, these look almost identical to the Killmonger hands. I wouldn't be surprised if they are just the Killmonger hands repainted. But they look great, you know, good for some grappling. I know in the trailer they show him kind of going toe-to-toe with Red Guardian. And then, of course, here he is. Feels so cool to be holding this figure. We have Taskmaster. Let's see. First thing I wanted to check is the hood removable. pop his head off. Nope. So the hood is built onto the helmet. So the hood is not a removable piece. I'm going to pop that back on. Paint and detail look great. I have a little teeny tiny blemish on the back of his head there. Not going to worry about it. The detail is great. As I mentioned, the orange and blue, absolutely love it. Maybe he's a secret Mets fan. I don't know. Let's see about articulation. So head, he's a little encumbered by his chest piece there. As you can see, his head goes back and forth. He has the ability to look down, slightly encumbered by the hood. Again, slightly encumbered by the hood and looking back. A serious ab crunch. I mean, he can go all the way forward and pretty darn far back. And what's nice is the way that the paint is, it carries on that piece through the middle. So when he is arched, you can continue. Much like the Power and Glory cap, he has these kind of soft, rubbery shoulder pads on, which prevent his arms from articulating fully up. So that's really as far as you can go with them. They do go all the way back. He looks like he has, yeah, he does actually. He has kind of pseudo butterfly joints. I don't know if you can see that, but there are butterfly joints there, which means that you know, he can, while he can't go all the way back, he can go all the way out like that. That is neat. Can he hug himself? No, they don't bend all the way in, but just kind of helping him get back like that. He does have a bicep swivel. He does have a double jointed elbow. And his forearm actually bends the wrong way. So they're really going to town on that articulation. So the same kind of elbow articulation that the Black Widow figure had, but with that added double joint to the elbow. But that first joint has some serious articulation. So, you know, maybe you can have somebody busting his arm. He does rotate at the wrist. And of course, you can't really rotate out on this. I mean, you can if you rotate his wrist. His wrist guard kind of pokes out onto the surface of his hand a little bit, which prevents him from going back too far that way. What's really nice is he can go into almost a full split. These utility belt elements that are here are very soft plastic, almost rubbery, that give right away to movement, which is great. He does have the thigh swivel. He has the double jointed knee, which of course he can kick himself pretty much almost in the ass there. Not quite as much in the way of knee articulation as Black Widow figure did, but he does have, at the same time, has thicker thighs, so that's definitely leading to that. He can rotate at the foot, and of course up and back. This figure is just so cool. While we have him on camera here, before we go to the video, I'm gonna show you, let's take a look at how his shield clips onto his wrist, exactly the way that I thought it would, which is awesome. So you just rotate that piece so that that's sticking up like this, and it clips on right at the joint where the wrist and the arm meet, and he hangs onto that perfectly. Let's see. Let's get the bow and arrow in his hand, because I feel like that's the big thing, right? So I'm gonna take off the fists. They come off nice and easy, as I would expect them to, just like all the other Marvel Legends figures that have exchangeable hands. All right, so let's see. So I'm no bow and arrow expert here, but let's see if we can get, I think the arrow is supposed to go on top. I don't know. Shoot. The picture of him with the bow and arrow? No, they don't. All right, so let's see. I'm no archery expert here, but I'm gonna do my best. All right, so the arrow doesn't quite click into that. It rests there. If you're careful enough about it, it'll stay there. Let's see if we can get... All right, so with some finagling, I mean, this is definitely an awkward pose right here, but you can see that the arrow will stay. He will grip the bow, and that with some practicing on the pose, he will definitely be able to hold the bow and arrow and shoot it. We'll prove that or disprove it in the pictures at the end when we get him in the light box and pose him. But overall, I mean, this is just he's a gorgeous figure. Can't wait to add him to my rogues gallery. It's finally time for me to update my Marvel Legends shelf. Gotta think of some interesting themes to work with here, because right now I kind of just have a smattering of everybody up there. But maybe I'll do some fight scenes or something, we'll see. But this is a gorgeous figure. Would highly recommend, whether you're a comic fan or an MCU collector. I mean, this is a great figure, great fit and finish, looks awesome, great detail. Even before we go here, just looking at it a little bit closer, it's interesting how the paint goes from like metallic to flat to just kind of like a sheen. They were very careful about, you know, like you could see the reflection coming off the boots here and kind of the matte finish on his pants. It gives him some really great texture. You know, while you can't see behind these goggles that are here, the eyewear, you can see the texture difference, and almost kind of your brain kind of tricks you to think that like you're seeing a little bit through them. It's very clever how they did this. This is a great figure. You know, so far the two figures I've seen in hand from this line are both excellent. Definitely recommend him. As always, make sure you're following us here at AIC_podcast. Move that over. On Twitter and Instagram for toy news, you know, the pictures that we're finding. Send us your collection. We want to see what you're collecting. We want to see what your displays look like, especially during this time while we're all kind of stuck at home. You know, it'd be great to see how you're collecting at home and the things that you're doing from home. And please stay home, stay safe. You know, order from your local comic shop. They have some great exclusives out right now, actually, from Diamond, from some other companies. But you know, I ordered these guys from Amazon. They arrived safely at my doorstep, and yeah. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Check out our podcast wherever you find podcasts, and make sure you give us a rate and a review. We're out every other Monday, and we're always talking about toys. Thanks for stopping by, and definitely pick up Taskmaster.